Testing, 1, 2, 3. Can everyone hear me? All right. You want to go ahead?
Testing. 3, 4, 5.
Testing, 6, 7, 8.
There you go.
Testing.
Go ahead.
Yep. Can you hear me?
Hello.
All right. Sounds like we're all able to be heard. So with that, thank you, everybody, for showing up tonight. We already did the pledge and had a closed session. We're back into open session now, so we'll go right into communications and public comments. We'll have the student report, please, if we have the high school representative. Big fan.
So starting off, we have our senior trip. The annual senior trip to Washington, D.C. happened this past week from March 21st through the 25th. 11 students...
Just a second. Is your mic on?
It is, but you got to bring it down a
Can
little
you
bit.
bring it down
It's
a
over
little
your
bit?
nose. There you go.
11 students attended...
I don't know that it's on. Can you check to make sure it's on? Dr. White, come over.
Oh, okay.
Perfect. Thank you.
Magical.
There we
Sorry
go.
about that.
Okay. 11 students attended, and we all had a fantastic time. It was a huge educational experience, with the majority of the students never having been to the nation's capital before. We went to many different places, including the National Archives, the Library of Congress, the Capitol, the White House, Mount Vernon, the Baltimore Aquarium, and we saw the performance of Riverdance at the Kennedy Center, along with many other fun activities. An added bonus was that it was the peak viewing week for the cherry blossoms that Washington, D.C. is known for. Everyone enjoyed the trip, and from what I can tell, the favorite activity was the performance at the Kennedy Center. It was a great bonding experience and a tradition that will hopefully continue on in upcoming years. Then moving on to some senior class events, Mr. Mansky held a meeting with us seniors 2 weeks ago to discuss the upcoming senior events. As of now, the senior skip day is planned for May 12th, and we hope to volunteer at Yerkes Observatory in the morning to help clean up the area. The senior prank is scheduled to be for May 20th, and we are currently collecting ideas from the senior students to finalize that idea. The actual graduation ceremony is scheduled for Friday, May 27th, to be held in the high school gym, and we will hopefully have a parade afterwards if enough interest is shown. Then we had a high school activity night last Friday from 6 to 8 p.m. that was planned by the student council. There were games planned, pizza, and kids just hanging out with their friends, and 60 students showed up, so that was definitely a great success. Then next week we have the Wisconsin State Forward Testing and ACT Aspire for the 6th through 10th graders on April 4th and 5th, so we will have a special schedule for April 4th through 7th. Juniors and seniors will have a late start at 10:30 for both Monday and Tuesday. Then Wednesday and Thursday will both be C days, and then Friday there won't be any school. Then Drama Club had their performance of I Hate Shakespeare earlier this month on March 4th, 5th, and 6th. The audience turnout was great, and although it was the final high school performance for a large group of seniors, it was a great show to end our season on, and the Drama Club includes many juniors, sophomores, and freshmen who will carry on the tradition of quality plays in the future. Then this past month, we also had our middle school and high school band and choir concerts. All groups performed outstandingly, and the audience loved the pieces that were performed. Also, spring sports have now all started up. We have boys baseball, girls softball, girls soccer, co-ed track, and boys tennis and golf that have now all had their first practice, and some have already had some games and meets. The Academic Bowl will be participating in the Conference Academic Bowl on April 4th in Montello, Wisconsin, and our team has been studying and preparing for the competition. Then coming up, we also have our prom dance. Tickets will go on sale at the beginning of next week, and the anticipation is high, and juniors have been working very, very hard to make this a memorable dance. There is a lot of excitement about this, especially since we haven't had a full prom for 2 years because of COVID. And finally, next week, band and choir students will be traveling to New York City for their spring break trip. As you know, the last trip that was planned had to be canceled due to COVID, so all participants are very excited for this trip to take in the sights of New York and perform. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Very
Does the
well
board
done.
have any questions?
No questions.
I just want to say you do a great job representing. Not only do you give us facts, but you give us a little student perspective as well, so we really appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Good job.
With that, we'll have public comments.
We have an elementary presentation.
Oh, I'm sorry, the elementary presentation after.
We have a special treat today, with our fifth grade students who are going to do a presentation that they did for me for the board.
Good evening, Williams Bay of Education. No, wait, Williams Bay Board of Education. Anders Olson. Alexis Chamberlain. Evie Barcholds Dowling.
And Sid Lisenby.
Of fifth grade think that we should have better toilet paper. We think this because it feels like sandpaper and it is uncomfortable after we go to the bathroom. If you think this is a good idea, we should have better toilet paper because the current toilet paper is not it.
First of all, why do we need different toilet paper? The current toilet paper is thin and hurtful. Alexis Chamberlain, myself, says, after I used the restroom, I didn't feel satisfied. Us kids and staff deserve better toilet paper after a long day.
The next reason why we think we should get better toilet paper is because of the texture and the value of the current toilet paper. We currently are pulling roll after roll of toilet paper because it's so thin. Also because it's so thin, sometimes holes are poked in it. Another thing that happens is we accidentally rip off just a piece while we're pulling it out of the container. Also, a little side note, when nobody has already pulled off a bit of the toilet paper, it's very difficult to get it off. We need thicker and softer toilet paper because it is so much more comfortable and easier to handle.
Our last reason is how better toilet paper will benefit us. First, better toilet paper is thicker, so it won't rip when we don't want it to. Second, we won't have the issue of uncomfort because it's softer. Thirdly, thicker toilet paper absorbs more water, which means we don't have to use so much.
In conclusion,
Anders Olson,
Alexis Chamberlain
Evie Barcholds Dowling,
And Sid Lisenby.
of fifth grade think that we should have better toilet paper and would like to start a petition.
After we made this presentation to Dr. Bond, we have displayed posters around the school, started a petition, and currently have 131 signatures. And we met with Mr. Quinn to discuss toilet paper options.
Thank you for your time to allow us to present our idea to you. If you have any questions, feel free to ask.
Thank you for all the excellent points you made and for letting us know your concerns. And it's definitely something we can look into. You're already working out with Mr. Quinn and Dr. Bond, and we wholly support you moving forward with that. I don't know if any of the other board members have anything to say.
I'm convinced. I want to see the numbers, Mr. Quinn.
Awesome.
Very good.
So is this something that is a possibility? I mean, are we? All right, excellent. Stick to it, and hopefully we can find something that everyone appreciates and enjoys using. I do have a question for you. I noticed your T-shirts all have TP on it. What does the TP, and I figured out the TP, but what does the I stand for?
Oh, they're toilets. Turn around.
Your hair is over it, so I can't. Oh,
Yeah,
ink,
different.
okay,
Oh, the
incorporated, okay.
Very good. Very nice.
Very cool.
One other
Jackson extra large,
consideration.
by the way.
Oh yeah, also a thank you to my mom for making the shirts.
And we also want to thank all the teachers that helped us with this. One of the teachers are here, Mr. Julik, for helping us with planning out and writing and all that stuff.
Ms. Transu and Mr. Kiesbert are not here at this time, but we will want to thank them for helping us with this too. And all the other teachers that have let us present the whatever in their classes. So thank you.
Well, thank you. I know that they've helped you, but you guys are the leaders on this, and you've done a great job with it. I know that Mrs. Wass was
I
wanted to ask
just
something.
wondered about environmental concerns. I've done some reading, and that's a concern with sewage treatment and that sort of thing, and I just wondered if that's part of your research.
So Sid brought up one time that Angel Soft, did you say?
Yeah.
It decomposes better than other toilet papers like Charmin's or the thick toilet papers. I'm just going to say, because I don't know any of the names right now, but they don't clog up in sewage systems as much.
So you're looking at all aspects.
Yeah, also, the school toilets are very strong. So pretty much whatever you put in it will go down.
I hope you haven't been researching that. Any other questions for the board?
Great job.
Any other things you want to say? Well, great job. Thank you for bringing up that topic, and hopefully,
Great job.
good solutions.
I look forward to seeing what you guys come up with when you're in high school. Great way to start.
Well, we're going to have public comments now because it's going to be hard to follow that. So we have up to half an hour for public comments. That includes now and at the end of the agenda. 5 minutes per person to speak. And if anybody wants to come up and make a comment to the board, remember that it has to be directed at the board and have to be on a topic general to the agenda. Going once? Going twice? Sure. Yes, please, so that it's on the recording.
So, Jen Galvin, do I have to say my address? I forget. 515 Bridgewater Circle. I just wanted to just kind of put out there for future. I have 3 boys, 2 who are very heavily involved with athletic extracurricular activities, and I would love, just in the future, my youngest is very much more interested in STEM, engineering, art, music, science, hip-hop, dance, kind of the non-traditional athletics. So I'm kind of hoping, you know, once he enters into middle school that there would be kind of a lot of different options for other extracurriculars that he could be involved with, because I think it's important for him to have, any child to have involvement after school for extracurriculars, and I'd just love to see some ideas for that in the future, art clubs and such. That's it.
Thank you.
Yep.
Any other public comments? Going twice? Going 3 times? With that, we'll move on to reports. We're going to begin tonight with a special report. We have a board member who has been on the board for 18 years, has decided to not run again this year, so her seat is open, but we really do appreciate all of the years of service and the dedication to the school and the staff and the students and the parents and the community. And as a board, we want to present you with this lovely vase and flowers. I'm going to hand this to Ed to hand to you. And we want to just say thank you for everything that you've done for Williams Bay School District. So, Diana White. Now, we will give you a chance to say something if you want, but before that, we have a few other people that want to say a few things.
So also, on behalf of the school district, there will be a brick placed out in front of the school with the other bricks, and it'll commemorate and acknowledge your years of service to the school board. And then I also know one of the students wanted to speak. So are you ready?
So to start, I have a thank you from the Williams Bay Student Council. The Williams Bay High School Student Council would like to extend a sincere thank you to Mrs. Wass for her 15 years of service on the Williams Bay School Board. While she served on the school board, she worked hard to make sure that we students had everything that we needed to be successful. She shaped policy to help us have strong and caring teachers, small class sizes, happy and comfortable spaces to learn in, all the supplies we needed, a lot of electives to choose from, and a myriad of extra experiences such as all-school field trips, plays, musicals, and outdoor ed experiences at all levels. If we did our math right, and with Miss Thiel as our math teacher, we know we did, Mrs. Wass has taken care of and looked out for more than 1,000 Williams Bay students over her tenure on the school board. We are so grateful to Mrs. Wass.
That sounds like a lot more work than what I did. But thank you.
Yeah. And then we also have a thank you from the middle school students and teachers. They said, "We would like to offer you our heartfelt thanks and congratulations on your retirement from the Williams Bay School Board. During your time on the board, we teachers felt heard, cared for, and assured that our students and staff were in good hands. You were the voice of the teachers, the staff, and the students time and time again, and for that invaluable gift, we thank you. As you transition into retirement, we wish you all the best."
Then on behalf of the faculty and staff, we would also like to thank you for your dedication and service to the district. Thank you for all the support that you have given the teachers and staff. We have a framed certificate. It says, "School Board Member Diana Wass, supportive, reliable, respectful, patient, kind, irreplaceable. Thank you, appreciated, helpful, encouraging, outstanding, invaluable, dependable, honorable, diligent, knowledgeable, caring, fun, loyal, dedicated, devoted. Thank you for being an important part of our story."
Creative.
Well, the floor is yours, Diane, if you want to say anything.
It's been a privilege, an honor, reassurance to have worked with so many of you over the years, and looking forward to the new staff who come in. I think Williams Bay School District has given back so much more than what I've given to you on the other side. Of course, all my children and grandchildren have graduated from here, and many of the faces that I see are key to that. And we've had some interesting experiences, but the kids have all done well. It's a good school district with wonderful people, and I know you will continue to work hard to keep it that in the years to come. So thank you for all you've done. It's much more than what I have given, I feel. Thank you.
It's going to be hard to run a meeting after that, but we have to keep moving on.
That's for sure.
Thank you for everything. Moving on to reports from the athletic boosters and athletic director.
I'd just like to bring up two people. We're going to go one at a time here just to talk about them quick. Lisa can come over here. This is Lisa Patterson. She made state and competed up at the state gymnastics meet. What was that, 2 weekends ago, I believe, up Wisconsin Rapids. She competed in the beam and the uneven bars. And we are very proud of her, and I want to make sure we recognized her at the school board meeting.
State meet did not go how I wanted it to. However, the support from the school and everybody here was incredible. And thankfully, I have another year next year, so hopefully I can make you guys proud next year.
You are
very proud already.
You're already proud.
And then what we started last month, I want to do it again, kind of our state of the program, bringing in a coach who's going to talk about his program, where he's going, and what he's got going on. So what I'm going to bring up next is Mike Dowden, our girls basketball coach, and he also helps coach at Bigfoot for the co-op for track.
Thank you for taking a moment to listen to me talk about where the girls basketball program is right now. We just finished our season. That was the first season under me. We finished with only 5 wins, not quite where we wanted it to be, but it is a start of where we're going. As I talk to the girls all the time, is we always like to end every sentence with yet. We didn't win as many games as we wanted to yet. We didn't do as well as we wanted to yet, but in a few years, yet becomes kind of what we want. So just a real quick wrap up. We had 16 high school players, which from my understanding is almost double what we had before. 3 of them are seniors and they'll leave us. That will return hopefully 13 with a pretty strong middle school group of 8 to 10 at every level, hoping to kind of grow these numbers as we keep moving ahead. In addition, we had a youth program at the 4th and 5th grade level. Both 4th and 5th grade teams had 12 kids on each team there. So that's a huge growth. And then on our Saturday mornings here for the last couple months of Saturdays, we've been bringing in kindergartners to 3rd graders. Some of them are boys, some of them are girls, but we bring in roughly around 30 of them every Saturday morning. So just trying to grow not only a program of basketball, but also a program of just dedication to your craft, trying to get better, understanding that we improve on daily increments and not just showing up every once in a while. This summer we will have our summer strength and conditioning program will continue. That will run as of now in the morning, and that will be open to middle school and high school students, as well as trying to find some camps for our youth and our elementary to continue to grow as people through basketball. So that's kind of where we're at right now, and where we want to go. Ultimately, our end game is to hang a banner in the gym. But as I always tell people, if wins and losses is all we're remembered for, then we're not doing a very good job. So at the end of the day, we want to win, but we want to make sure that we're building great young women and helping them prepare for the future. So any questions for me?
Not really a question, but I've had the opportunity to work with you with the 4th and 5th grade girls because I have a daughter and age. And I want to just say I appreciate the great attitude that you bring every time, and the girls keep coming back, not because they have to, but because they have a good time. And that's basically why we play sports, is to have fun and to enjoy the competition. So thank you for your great attitude and for being a leader that you are.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments?
Thank you for a great first year.
Yes. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
And before he walks away, Mike added to his family last week, had another baby girl, so congratulations to Mike on his addition to his family.
Mike so far has done a great job of starting with the groundwork, starting at the bottom, building where he wants his program, so I give him a lot of credit for that. Thank you, Mike. Otherwise, notes as presented. If you guys have any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer them. Obviously, I talked about a little about the new website we're using for athletics and activities. We have started rolling it out. It's up on the website now. It is not done, but it started getting out, so I wanted to make sure we got it out and online best we can. And obviously, the first year, it's going to be a work in progress. But hopefully this is a one-stop shop for everyone to go to one place and not all over the place. And this was all designed for activities and athletics. So it's something that hopefully we can keep going and make it proud.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Hank? Yep. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Great
Thank
job.
you.
Thank you. All right, moving on to reports for District Administrator, Dr. White.
We'll cover all mine within the agenda, and we've already had a couple, so.
Okay, Mr. Mansky, Middle School, High School.
Good evening. I'll recap a few things that I sent you guys. Some things that Anna didn't mention. Again, thank you for recognizing her outstanding work, because she does a great job here presenting to you guys. Our History Bowl competed and finished, both the varsity and the JV finished in second place behind Jefferson High School at their competition. And our forensics team is moving on too in terms of their performance at the state level as well, so I want to give them recognition. As you can see, for Redefining Ready, our report card this year, or this month, focused in on the class of 2022 and their composite ACT scores, and that's going to be another metric that we're going to be setting as a baseline for our set-to-be July report card for the class of 2022, and how they score on the ACT metrics as defined by Redefining Ready. As you walked into the Commons, you may have looked up and saw that we have some new banners hanging in the Commons. So I formed 2 new clubs here, and we'll do that annually here and recognize our students. First, after 7 semesters, 4.0 GPA club, of which we had 13 members of the senior class achieve that. And then the other club is the 30-plus ACT club, which we had 5 members of, which roughly is 10% of our senior class, which are both outstanding accomplishments. So I did want to recognize the seniors for their outstanding efforts there. Our visit to the Rotary Club for the month of March recognized our valedictorian and salutatorian, Colin Kuiper and Caden Binger. So they presented before the Geneva Lake West Rotary Club. So they did a great job representing Williams Bay and did a little Q&A with those members and all the outstanding stuff that they've done here at Williams Bay. Mr. Rasmussen, our long-term sub, continues to work with our students in need of some assistance in terms of grades and monitoring and checking Skyward and making Google Docs and meeting with teachers. So he was a little busy last week working on sub jobs. So in his downtime, he is meeting with kids to try to make sure we're encouraging kids to stay on their grades, because we're about halfway through the semester. One of our biggest moves in the middle school level was an incentive-based program using MobyMax, which is our closing the gaps and focus on skill development at our 6th, 7th, and 8th grade levels ahead of the forward test. And what I did was incentivize them based on a weekly award for a meal, a grade level advisory prize, and then they'll have the opportunity to earn an entire grade level field trip. So without looking too much into the details, I can tell you that based on last year to this year, our use of MobyMax and the lesson development and skill development, we've increased our total student minutes by over 1,000%. We've increased the problems completed from last year to this year by 675%, and we've increased the number of lessons completed at the grade levels by 12,000%. And we have still 4 days to go this week. So I'm very proud of our middle school students and the effort they've given with regards to MobyMax and closing some skill gaps that we have. Next up, I want to talk quickly about our partnerships. We're developing some partnerships with Bigfoot and then also Elkhorn. Elkhorn is more on the partnership side of youth apprenticeship, and they have people that are dedicated to these roles and positions to connect with various businesses. And so I'm going to meet with their YA director on next Wednesday to learn more about how we can start offering more opportunities for our students who want to go the youth apprenticeship route. And then lastly, with our partnership with Bigfoot, as we're exploring ways to offer more opportunities for kids to take in-person classes between the 2 districts, and the lack of specialty areas between the 2 areas allow our students from both schools to take classes that they may otherwise not be able to take in person. So that is still in its finalization stages for how we're going to work that out, but we had our last meeting was this morning, and we feel very confident that we're going to be able to provide more opportunities for students in person moving forward. And then lastly, our student council, under the direction of Ms. Evans, is looking to offer another way to increase school spirit and morale. So we're going to be rolling out for our seniors next year. Next fall, they're going to be able to come back to school and purchase a parking spot that they'll be yours for the year, and then they'll be able to paint that spot as well with approval so that they have a dedicated parking spot to roll in whenever they roll in for the day, and they know that it's theirs for the entire school year. So I think that'll be well received for the seniors for next year. Any questions?
Not a question, a comment on the banners, and they're phenomenal, thank you. And I think that type of activity, recognizing not just athletics, but academics, and then some of the other areas in the arts, well, I think are very good ideas, and I'm very appreciative.
Yes, I was impressed with all the different activities for students to grow and learn, things like the apprenticeship, building that program again. Very good, thank you.
Yeah, Mr. Mansky, if you wouldn't mind, because a very robust list of things that you're doing, but the youth apprenticeship program, can you just touch on that briefly for folks that maybe don't know about it?
Yeah, so that's through the Department of Workforce Development. So you have to go through a series of standards that the employer then uses with the Department of Workforce to get recognized. And the students, while working, can then also earn high school credits in a particular field or an area of interest that they may have as they've identified in a career pathway, for example. Stebnitz Builders is looking to, they're in it, for example, to look to develop more carpentries, or more carpenters, more people in the trades. And so they're willing to take on applications, take on kids while they're in high school, and more of a kind of a modified schedule for kids to then work for part of the day and then go on and take classes that then also apply to the area that they're looking to possibly explore later on. We've also had a credit union reach out to us as well in search of someone that may be in the banking or finance industry later on.
I just wanted to say that I'm exceedingly pleased to see the Bigfoot partnership in being able to have students from there come here and ours go there for classes that maybe one of the schools isn't able to offer. So thank you very much for pursuing that.
And there are more of those than you would think, to be honest with you. And so that'll continue to grow as we have more planning time into next year as well to include to our course guides. So, yep.
All right, thank you.
Okay, great, thank you.
Moving on to the elementary, Dr. Bond.
Notes as presented. Any questions?
Cheater.
So you have a shorter presentation. Are there any questions on the notes that she delivered to us?
No, good report.
No, thank you for bringing the young people to present.
Yes,
That was very cool.
Yeah.
Thank you. They did a great job.
It's great to see them taking initiative. So,
Yes.
thank you. Student Services, Ms. McCumber.
Hello. We have a lot of exciting things going on in the Student Services Department. Our focus on mental health is continuing. We're getting our HOPE Squad for the high school up and running, which is our peer suicide prevention group. So that will be starting in the next week. Our 3K program registration will hopefully start on April 1st. Julie Gauger is our new registrar, and she is amazing with Skyward. So as soon as registration is open for the district for 4K through 12, we're hoping 3K registration is open as well. I continue to have families calling, reaching out, making sure we're still a go. So I think that'll be really great. One thing I want to mention about the special education department, I've mentioned a couple times that we're going through our audit this year where they go through our paperwork and just make sure that we're compliant. I received a phone call today from DPI that our first step, we are in compliance. We didn't have to do any additional corrections on our paperwork, which is really great. She just commended our district for the hard work that we put into students' individualized education programs, how thorough it was. So it was really great to hear. And we're moving on to the second and last part of that. So hopefully by June, we'll be all done with that audit. And that happens once every 5 years. So I really want to commend our special education team for the hard work. I know the paperwork takes them so long, but it is just so thorough and great that we're being recognized too from our consultant at DPI.
Congrats, that's a big deal.
Yes.
It's a lot of work.
Yes, thank you. Any other questions for me?
Any from the board? No. Thank you very
Right,
much
thank
for all the hard
you.
work. I really appreciate it. With that, any reports from school board members?
Again, thank you for the recognition and the privilege of having served with a very good board. Thank you.
Thank you, Diana.
Thank you, Diana.
Nothing else, so we'll move on to action items. Consent agenda.
I would move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
All right, any discussion on it? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? All right, moving on to personnel transactions. Dr. White?
We have two resignations. Kelsey Spicala, middle school math teacher, middle school, high school. Kelsey is looking to start her own business. I think you saw some articles in the Lake Geneva News regarding her work and what she's trying to do. And Brianna Ferris, first grade elementary school teacher. Brianna's resigning to stay at home with her baby. And then we have appointments. Luke Breen, we are recommending him as a maintenance employee. He's working that second shift from basically noon to 8:30. Andrew Nicholson as the head varsity baseball coach. Caleb Eddington as the assistant varsity baseball coach. And then Steve Kuiper as assistant varsity baseball coach volunteer.
I move to approve the personnel transactions listed on the March 28th, 2022 personnel transaction sheet.
Second.
Any discussion?
Yeah, I guess I do. This is the appropriate place, I think. And I guess, Dr. White, this was more from last month. I know we had more personnel transactions and folks that had left. And at the time, I had asked what the thinking was, and we thought that was a lot, and what we thought the rationale may be. And I know it was shared, excuse me, it was shared that it was COVID fatigue. However, I've since heard from both some folks in the community as well as in the school that challenged that. So question for you, do we have a formal exit interview currently that's done with employees when they leave?
We do not have a formal process. In the past, we've had individuals ask for an exit interview either with the district administrator or board members. So certainly we can extend that to them, an opportunity to meet either with a couple board members or with district administrator and board member, whatever they're comfortable with.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to ask, if we could maybe just standardize that where there's at least a board member, but there's just a standardized process that we can do as part of the exit.
Yeah. We can definitely work on that and offer that to the teachers and make sure that's a standard offer that we get to each person that's leaving.
Okay.
Any other comments?
It's not really related to the employee, but I think we've talked about this in the past too, about when we lose students, and sometimes we never really hear why. And I don't know if we've ever formalized some kind of when a student leaves the district, if that's something we should be thinking about as well. And maybe it's not appropriate for this time of this conversation, but made me think of that.
Anything else?
We can talk about that
Yeah.
at the next meeting.
We can talk about that on Saturday.
Yeah.
Any other questions, comments? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, moving on to the purchase of elementary math curriculum.
I'm going to let Dr. Bond speak to that. She's been working with her team on that, and the recommendation is certainly to implement this new math materials, but I'll let her speak to that.
So as you can imagine, the process to explore, research different curriculum is tedious somewhat. The reason why we were exploring a new math program was because the current program that we're using, we were told, was being discontinued. So it sort of bumped up our need to look for a new one. We had a building leadership team that looked at a gap analysis to determine what we have and what we want and what may be missing in the middle. We worked with our our grade level teams as well as our neighborhoods to talk about the different things that we all wanted and what we thought was best for kids. We also had a group of 4 teachers who piloted a different math program through HMH, Houghton Mifflin, called Into Math. And they're in there. They've been doing that since September and learned a lot along the way. We're able to ask questions to our representative through HMH to help solve problems or give the planning team new ideas. And we also had presentations from illustrative math, which is a different way of teaching math. So with all the research that we've done and discussions that we've had, we have decided to move forward with Into Math. We feel that a 5-year plan for math would be the best way to go. And then we can reevaluate once we're 3 years into that and determine whether or not students are responding to it effectively, and of course, look at the data from their achievement to make sure we're still continuing to grow and make the progress that we need to grow with math. We did get several quotes, and as I mentioned, we decided that a 5-year plan would be best for our budget as well as for the students. Planning and training is a big part of an implementation also. So in August, we will have training for all of our teachers pending board approval of this curriculum. And then I also intend to have a follow-up training because a one and done sometimes isn't enough. And as teachers begin to start a curriculum, very often there are questions or what can be done to enhance what they've done so far. So there would be a training in September or August and then a follow-up training somewhere in the fall as well. Any questions about the process or the curriculum that was chosen?
I have one question. You know, they discontinued Go Math, and I'm not sure how long Go Math was in production or utilized. This new math curriculum that we want to go to, do you see any red flags or similarities that it might be discontinued in the next 5 or 6 years so that kids don't get into a second one and then 3 years down the road we're switching again, so that we're losing that consistency of having the way of teaching all the way through their elementary career?
Great question. Interestingly enough, after we were told that Go Math was discontinued, they then heard so much from different people that they wanted to bring Go Math back but enhance it. But the team felt that since they were doing this with Go Math and, okay, we're going to discontinue it, no, we're going to improve it, we're going to make it better, we're going to, change it along the way. We didn't want to go that direction. They have indicated to us that Into Math it's very research-based. They've changed the order of concepts being delivered to students. Our teachers have determined that it provides a deeper understanding of the math concepts to the students. And I'm hoping that it won't go away after 5 years. It's really hard to determine.
Do we know how long it's been in existence?
Into Math is a new math program that is from
the last year or two?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So then, just to follow up, you said that they're reordering the way they teach things. Are some kids going to have gaps because they learn something here and here instead of the new concept later on because it's been reordered? Or is there some way to make sure that they don't miss concepts that they would have got taught earlier because they've moved on and they're not taking that part of the new math?
So the same concepts are taught, but just in a different order. So this would start in kindergarten, and as students are learning those concepts, we feel that they'll have a deeper understanding of number sense and some of those concepts that will make them better prepared for what they will experience in the grade level. We did talk about the possibility of rolling out K through 2 first to sort of catch up and then roll out 3 through 5. But I believe that the building leadership team just felt that jumping in altogether would be great, because if you have some kids that are still in Go Math, because they would have extended that another year, and other kids are Into Math, we felt that was a little bit more just not the best way to present it to the students. So we also have interventions in place and as the middle school uses MobiMax, we use eSpark, which is a skill building or maintenance or enhancement type of program that also helps students fill in the gaps where they have them. But the teachers didn't give any indication that they felt that making more gaps would be an issue.
So when you talk about reordering, it's more reordering within that year as opposed to year-to-year reordering what they learn?
Correct.
Okay.
It's been reordered based on research, and that's
So they hit all the state standards within that?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Yes. They just seem to hit them maybe earlier and harder and in more of a spiral fashion.
Okay.
I had a question about the proposal amount. Is that amount that's listed on the paperwork here for the whole 5 years?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
When you made your presentation, you talked about the elementary committee. Was there correlation and linkage with the high school, middle school and high school, and what they need for preparation?
There has been conversation with middle school at the time. We were talking with those math teachers to see what they were using and how it may transfer into middle school. Since then, the math department in the middle school has changed significantly, and Mr. Mansky and Mrs. Lyle and I have worked with the team through the same company to most likely move forward with 6 through 8 using also Into Math. They have a regular advanced and a regular accelerated and an advanced programs. And after talking with Mr. Mansky and Mrs. Lyle, we feel that the accelerated would be a great option for 6th through 8th. But we're currently getting some proposals and quotes on that as well. So yes, we think that the consistency from elementary to middle school would be a positive thing.
That was going to be a layer of the question I was going to ask, so thank you, Diana. My only other question, this is both Houghton Mifflin,
Yes.
the Go Math, and the Into Math,
Correct.
And is our middle school curriculum also used at Houghton Mifflin?
Currently, they're using illustrative math,
Okay.
but I don't know that it's going as well as it could be going. Looking at some of the math scores and achievement, we feel that continuing Into Math, again, if approved, would really help those students continue the way of learning math into the middle school years, and then also be a nice way to branch into the advanced math that starts in 8th grade and then learning algebra in high school.
And Carolyn's point, the cost is about the same as the current contract, or how long do we have the Go Math curriculum? How many years?
How long did we have it? We had it, I think, 2015 was when we started
7
that.
years.
So we've had it for several years.
I'm guessing the cost is similar, or this is going to be more?
No, the cost is similar. Part of what, and it's digital and print, the parts and teacher-friendly aspects of Into Math, as far as being able to edit assessments, and there is a lot that goes into what the teachers were looking at through the pilot, but the cost is pretty relative. We would be getting print and digital, but we would not need all the additional teacher materials and manipulatives that we may have purchased with Go Math originally in 2015. We have extended Go Math for a couple years also, so that we could do this gap analysis and research and everything to make sure we had all the information we needed for a decision.
Any other questions from the board? Thank you.
Thank you.
So I'll entertain a motion if anyone wants to put one forward.
I move to approve the purchase of the Houghton Mifflin Harcourt Into Math curriculum for grades K through 5 as presented.
Second?
All right, any further discussion? Hearing none? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, moving on to the Johnson Controls Plan Service Proposal.
So this is an annual contract. Ryan's worked with Johnson Controls to get a proposal for them for our Metasys maintenance system. That's our software subscription. Ryan, you want to add anything?
I'll entertain a motion unless someone has any questions.
I would move to approve the 3-year agreement for Metasys preventative maintenance and ADS site directory software subscription with Johnson Controls as presented.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion?
I guess just one question, because I didn't ask on this one, Ryan. From a expense standpoint, is this within what we budgeted for this?
It's about a 3% increase each year. They originally gave us a 6% increase each year. So Ryan worked with them to get that down to a more acceptable number. Because if they were going to give us 6% increase every year, we felt like just do a one-year contract. Certainly we know that the consumer price index has gone up significantly in this year, but how they're projecting that, we didn't understand. So we worked with them and we got it down to a more manageable number for both contracts that we're presenting from Johnson Controls.
Good job, Ryan.
Well, I was going to ask the point on that because I did the math, and you could correct me if I'm wrong, but for the Metasys and the software subscription, it looks like an 8% increase each year, but then for the planned service proposal, it's only 3%. So are these the correct numbers, or did we get those numbers? If you take the 13,681 divided by 12,667, you get 1.08. A bunch of digits after that.
Unless we got this one late and I didn't change
So
it.
are these the newest numbers, or are these the previous numbers?
These are the previous numbers on the Metasys because originally we changed the numbers for the service proposal. Ryan had to go back and get a new one for the Metasys. So that is not the accurate numbers in the district details. So I just now realizing that.
I just
think a
wanted
good question.
to double check to make sure that, I'm hoping that the 3% is correct and this is just the old numbers. So.
Ryan, did they get us the Metasys?
I didn't see a Metasys in the packet. There's the planned service proposal, but there wasn't a contract or a breakdown for the Metasys in here.
Right, because I know we were working on getting the Metasys one. Did you ever get that, Ryan? Did you get it to Des? Because I don't see it in here either. Like I said, we did get them down to a 3% increase each year. I don't know if we didn't somehow get it in the packet or not, but it definitely is the 3%.
Okay. I will take your word on that, and that's the only question I had. Any other questions or comments? No. Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? All right, moving on to Johnson Controls for the planned service proposal for repair and service. Basically the same.
Basically the same
thing.
company.
That's 3% in here. So
Correct.
Yeah.
I'd move to approve the 3-year agreement for repair and services for the HVAC systems and with Johnson Controls as presented.
Second.
All right, any other questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, moving on to the Baker class proposal.
Yes,
It should be,
again, we do progressive maintenance to the building. We've been doing a different project each year. This last year, we replaced some windows on the high school wing and then the doors down by Shane Cawley and John Tomaszewski's room. This year, we're proposing to replace the doors in the front main entrance. We did reach out to Ackman to get a bid. We're not able to get a bid from Ackman for that. They are doing some other work for us in relationship to our windows and doors, but we're recommending the Baker Glass proposal. They did the other windows and the high school entrance door. They did real good work for us, and they've been very responsive.
Is this bulletproof glass or shatterproof glass? Seemed to me we had that done.
It would have a film over it, so if somebody would shoot it, it wouldn't just shatter. So we made sure that's in that process. The bulletproof glass was in the elementary when they did the construction, and then also, I believe, on that door that leads into Mrs. Quinn's area was upgraded to be bulletproof, basically. It's not bulletproof, it's shatterproof, basically.
Yeah. Okay. So it's the same quality.
Correct.
In your notes, it says that the entrance area needs replacement. Can you expound on some of the issues and as to why it needs to be replaced?
I'll
I'm
let
not
Ryan
going
do
into the doors
that.
enough to really realize some of the issues possible.
Yeah, Ryan, you want to comment on that?
Ryan, come down to the mic, probably.
Thank you. I forgot about that
Just wear and tear on the bases because of salt. There's been a lot more damage to the actual doors themselves, lots of scratching, nicking, that sort of stuff, as well as just them not closing correctly or also not opening correctly, just due to wear and tear. Those doors were original, so it was 1996. We did update the closers, I think it was about 10 years ago. But other than that, they are original and they're getting towards the end of their life cycle. So.
It references ADA. Are they ADA compliant push buttons?
So we will be also installing those on one set of doors. It'll be the far, if you're facing towards them from the outside, it'll be the far right side. They will have a button that will open and automatically hold and that sort of stuff. So yes, we are including that.
Good.
I will say, I think in the notes it says 39,000.
Right.
If you go down to the actual bid they gave us, that 39,000 is the base for the door installation. There's an extra, I think it's 25.
25.90.
Yeah, for the bulletproof
glazing
or shatterproof glass, that extra film.
Yep.
So it is a little bit more than just that 39,000, but it is around that in the ballpark. So just wanted to include that.
The doors that you're proposing are similar in appearance and style to what we have?
Yes.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Yeah, I just want to say, so Ryan, I know the question was asked about just additional bids, quality of the work.
Yep.
So that Dr. Pyre had asked, and that was shared with me, so I appreciate it. This is part of planned maintenance, right? When we talked about the year and what needs to be done this year. Okay.
Yep. It's on our capital improvements plan, is updating our doors. This was kind of the big one that just seems to be a more consistent issue, which is why I was kind of pushing for that, as opposed to some of our other doors that don't get used as much, so aren't showing as much wear and tear.
Okay.
I'll entertain a motion.
I move to approve the proposal to install new entrance doors in the middle high school from Baker Glass as presented.
Second.
All right, any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, the contract for SMG Computing.
SMG Computing is our technology service run by Steve Greenfield. We renew this contract on a yearly basis. Steve's been with the district at least probably 12 years. I'm not sure exactly how long he's been there, but he was here before I got here. Does a nice job for us. This year, we're going to reduce his hours from 900 to 750. So that reduces the contract to $70,500. Again, it's just our annual renewal for his contract.
Anyone want to make a motion?
I move to approve the contract with SMG Computing for the technology services as presented.
Second.
Any discussion?
So the reduction in hours, we don't need that many hours, or?
Correct. We think we can get by with less hours. We got things working pretty well. We also have Gail working on site, so we think we can get by with less hours.
Okay.
And that came with Steve's suggestion as well. We worked collaboratively with him on that.
Thank you.
Any other comments, questions? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? All right, moving on to the intergovernmental agreement with Geneva Joint 4.
This is for our speech and language therapist. Again, we currently have the same agreement with the Woods School under Geneva Joint 4. Angie Snowball works between both school districts. So again, it's a shared contract working with Woods.
How's that working out for us? Just kidding. Just kidding. She's sitting right behind. I would move to approve the intergovernmental agreement under Wisconsin Statute 660301 by and between School District of Williams Bay and Joint School District Number 4, Town of Geneva and Lynn regarding the speech language therapist for the 2022-2023 school year.
Second.
All right, any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? All right, and then discuss and approve job description for Dean of Students.
So this is a new, basically, job description. It's basically repurposing the current position that Brooke Lyle is in. She's currently basically a instructional coach. This would allow her to continue doing some of the instructional coaching, but also support the middle school, high school with some of the day-to-day operation. Having been the middle school, high school principal for 7 years, and certainly watching Brent work, managing student behavior, managing attendance, just managing the day-to-day stuff that happens at a middle school, high school, and then also trying to lead instructional initiatives, trying to really do good work with your teachers. It's hard because you're just chasing in so many different directions. So we feel like this would be a good use of Brooke's talent and really supporting what's going on in the middle school, high school.
Just one question I've got. So this is broadening the responsibilities of an existing employee?
Correct. She would be not just doing, working with teachers on the intervention side, but also helping with discipline and all those other pieces within the job description.
When this was discussed before, we talked about being more, considered more instructional, not so much as an administrative per se role. But I see a lot of administrative language in here, and so I don't know if the perception by people that see this are going to think that she's a full administrator. How's that going to work?
Well, it is more of an administrative role. It's still a dean of students, so she's still under a teacher contract. But again, it's really to give Brent more time to focus on the initiatives that he's trying to accomplish with the school to work, the apprenticeship stuff, with the new report card he's working on. So just to lead a lot of those initiatives, because knowing, having worked in that role, trying to do all that stuff, there's so many days within the school year where you just get consumed with an issue from a middle school student or an issue with the high school student, and again, you're just chasing all those things. So I know when we talked about this job description hasn't changed much from when we originally presented it as either an AP or a dean of students.
Right. I'm not worried about what the role is going to be. It's just perception possibly in the public as,
Getting heavier on the administrative
Right.
side.
Right.
And I certainly
You know what I'm saying?
recognize that. That's why we left it as a dean of students and not as an associate principal. And certainly, again, yeah. But again, I think it's needed. I know certainly we're facing potential, reductions next year. But again, I think this gives us the ability to get a handle on a lot of initiatives we've been trying to work on that we just haven't been able to move as effectively.
And I understand that she's already been doing a lot of this work already, splitting time between elementary and up here in middle school. And it seems like she's spending more time in the middle school. So it's just basically more of adjusting to what she's doing as opposed to creating a new position. I'm just worried about the messaging when we're going through cuts with teachers, staff, and having to reduce 2 in the elementary and some of the other stuff.
Correct.
That people understand the true reasoning and story behind it.
Correct.
Does anybody else have any question or comments? If not, I can entertain a motion.
I move to approve the job description for Dean of Students as presented.
I'll second.
Okay, moved and seconded. Any further discussion?
I would just echo, Jack's points that we want to make sure that we're explaining this is not necessarily a new position, but a redefinition of a current staff member's role to be more encompassing of the work that's already being done, but with logic and initiative on the front end instead of reactive.
Correct.
Okay.
But certainly, she's already been doing the instructional coaching piece, and certainly she works quite a bit with Ally on things on the elementary side. But again, there's certainly a need, if we're going to move some of these initiatives forward, to try to spread some of the responsibilities. And since she's already there, it just makes sense. It's not creating a whole new, it's just reallocating what she's doing.
Okay.
Any further questions or comments? Hearing none. All in favor? Aye.
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 Opposed? All right, moving on to discussion items, COVID-19 update.
Things are going as well as can be expected. We're not really seeing many cases of COVID-19 within the district. We really haven't had any student cases in a couple weeks. So things are going about as smoothly as they can. Certainly, we know that things will rear its head at some point. But again, we're moving back as close to normal as we can, getting field trips and getting activities and things going for the kids.
Does look like the general trend is still downward, after our Omicron
Yep.
spike back in earlier this year. Any questions, comments about COVID-19?
I'm supportive of the cases going down.
Ed wants to be on the record that he is anti-COVID.
Well, and again, I cannot say enough of the work that Jackie Natonsky has done dealing with all that. And again, we recognize that the last 2 years have been really, really stressful on staff and students and families. We're glad to see things trending in the right direction. We want our staff and students to have a quote-unquote normal experience. We want to see that in the rearview mirror and get back to really focusing on the things that make this district special, which isn't COVID. So,
yep. Absolutely. All right, with that, we'll have public comments. We still have, I don't know if you kept time, probably about 27 minutes or so. That wasn't long.
Yep.
If anybody wants to step up to the mic and make public comment, now is the time. Once, twice. There we go.
Good evening. Maxine Welsh, and I have 3 sons at the Bay. And I just wanted to express my support of the apprenticeship program that Mr. Mansky's been speaking of. I have a son who is very involved with Mr. White, and I just see a lot of success in that with children who are not fitting into that box of heading off to a 4-year university, and just really eager to get into the workforce. So I just wanted to express my support of that, and also thank you to the athletic Mr. Johnson. He's been doing a great job of getting the basketball with the boys, so I just want to express my gratitude just in general. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other public comments? Going 3 times. All right, thank you. So you can have a motion.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All right, thank you, everybody. Have a safe night.